Hot right now.
So,
Oh my god.
I don't know if you hate me, pity me, or maybe I just disgust you.
Hey shitass, you listen to Eurobeat, Breakcore, or videos of AI Peter Griffin singing songs from Yakuza? Do you have crippling ADHD and you ran out of Adderall? If so, I can't give you any more Adderall, but I can waste your time. So let me introduce you to the fine art of nuke shitposting, otherwise known as being a movement player in 2023. Now seeing as CS2 is going to be coming out soon, there's going to be a lot of young impressionable gamers out there picking up the game to see what that sweet Source 2 action's all about. And my goal until the game releases is to warp and twist the minds of as many innocent fools as I can to cultivate a new generation of brain-dead, water trash, scumfuck bastard movement players. So that being said, let's get this video over with so I can go back to D-ranking. I'm going to assume you know the basics of spazzing around the map faster than usual, so I'll skip all the baby shit. Going into this, you should know how to b-hop, air strafe, fast ladder, and have a fairly simple grasp on how to haul ass around any given space. First up on our list of shit to learn is map knowledge. If you want to start making your enemies look like students from the Alabama Institute for the Deaf and Blind, then you're going to need to know exactly where you're going at all times. This means knowing what routes to take to get to where, knowing where you can slink off to safety if you're getting shot at, and knowing spots where you can hide that a clueless player on the enemy team wouldn't think to check. So, go load up Nuke and walk around or some shit, I don't know. Now that you've spent 72 hours staring at every pixel on the map, you're bound to notice some spots where a little tomfoolery could be applied. For instance, this ladder here. Now any other Joe Schmo wouldn't think twice about going up this ladder, but a brain-damaged movement gamer like me would never overlook such a great opportunity. The shit you can pull on this ladder would make anybody out of silver shit their pants. Here's a few examples.
mini.
Nice.
Now this is where we start having fun with the game. Most of the shit posting you'll be doing boils down to just two things. One being trigger discipline, which just means not having monkey brain and shooting someone we don't need to, or when it's funny. And two being whether or not the enemy team decided to wear their headphones that morning. A lot of the time you'll be playing the game and come across some poor sap who can't seem to pinpoint where some sounds are coming from. And this, my fellow brainlets, is a glorious opportunity for shitposting. What I like to do when I find one of these helpless creatures is teach them an important lesson on why you should always be alert and spatially aware when playing on Nuke. Otherwise, you may fall victim to a funny moment like in this next example.
Two on top of Marshmallow. A couple outside.
Yep. 1 minute.
One went down secret.
Fuck him up, shirt. Oh, shirts.
One just went mini. In mini.
What is happening?
Think this guy will ever notice I'm up here?
I don't know.
Red
Yeah,
box
you
on
noticed.
top of mini.
Red box?
When playing on Nuke, you're bound to come across a few players or even whole teams who seem to be partially deaf or can't keep track of who's a teammate and who isn't. So it's become somewhat of a challenge of mine to see just how much I can push the boundaries of their unaware gamer brains before they notice what I'm doing. The first thing you need to be doing when partaking in a little bit of trolling is to know your routes. There's only like 3 or so that you need to know to get around pretty quickly, so put your listening hats on and pay attention. First one is from CT spawn to hut to T roofs. You always want to make sure you either spawn in front of your teammates or that they won't get in your way up the ladder. When you get up to heaven, you want to surf across this round thing and land on this blue box so you don't take fall damage. Next, you want to make sure you brought a flashbang with you and chuck it through hut into lobby. Make sure you don't wait too long to throw it, or you'll either flash yourself or give your enemies enough time to look away and ruin your funny. After that, you're going to want to head up this ladder and onto the roof, where you can either go silo or back into lobby from behind, depending on where the other team is. Next one's going to be from CT spawn to secret. There's 2 ways to do this one, and both you can find out for yourself pretty easily by just playing the game, but I'll put them here anyway. You're going to want to go up the ladder to heaven like before, but this time hop across the hut and then drop down the vent. Now that could be an entire thing on its own, since that's a good setup for some knife kills if the other team are rushing down vent, but that's not the plan for this route. Now all I gotta do is just run over here and sit on the left side of this door and wait. Alternatively, you can go through ramp to B and then to secret and end up in the same spot, but that's a little slower, and speed is everything when you're trying to shitpost like this. Oh no. The next one's from CT spawn to outside. There's a little box you can hide behind out there and let the enemy team walk right past you if you can get to it fast enough. You're going to need 2 flashbangs for this one to throw over mini and one to right click jump throw as you're running to the box like so. If all goes according to plan, your enemies are allergic to checking corners and they should walk right past you. And if you've been paying attention so far, you know what that means. Now on to the T side routes. The first one we'll be looking at goes from T spawn to silo to mini, and then you can pretty much go wherever after that. First, make your way over to this ladder here, and when you're like halfway up, strafe off and around to this blue crate. Then you're going to want to jump up this gap and hop off a little round thing onto this pipe and make your way up the silo. When you're on top of silo, you can either chuck a flashbang all the way over the building and then hop down to mini, or just do it without the flashbang. Then when you're on mini, again, you can either right click jump throw a flash around the corner, or just go without it. From here, you have a choice of either going heaven or garage, depending on how you want to fuck with the other team and where they are. That route was the only really important one I could find on T side, but I'm sure there are other ones that I forgot about or just didn't even think of. With that being said, let's move on to all the different funnies you can do on Nuke. First up, we have the classic vent knife. If you've played on this map before, you probably know this one. Premise is, you drop down the vent, somebody sees you do this, they drop down the vent trying to chase you, and then you knife them. It's very simple and it's an easy way to rack up money on those first few rounds. Now, there's a few tricks to mastering this one, first of which being the timing. You usually want to be doing this on a vent rush with your whole team, so there's more of a reason for the CTs to chase you down the vent. Otherwise, it's less likely to get someone to follow you if you just go alone. You can do it without a vent rush if you can mind game someone well enough to chase you, but a good starting point is to do it on a vent rush. Another thing to get down is the method you use to actually knife someone in the vent. You always want to be aware of what direction the enemy is facing when they go down the vent, because that's the direction you want to be facing when you go to stab them. The whole vent knife premise is a lot like trick stabbing someone in TF2, since you're just baiting someone to make their backstab hitbox within reach. So if you're facing forward in the vent and someone's facing directly towards you, you're going to want to turn 180 degrees to be able to stab them. Now, that being said, some people are going to know what you're up to and go backwards down the vent, so you can't one-shot them with a backstab and then promptly blow your brains out. Or if they're a more based gamer than you, stab you instead. We'll get to that later. This is why you always want to face toward the vent opening and have your ladder movement down so you can reposition on the ladder quickly. There's another little trick you can do when trying to get vent knife kills that can help you get more if you do it just right. So usually when you get a knife kill in the vent, whoever you killed calls out to their team that you're down there being a goblin. So the next guy to go over to the vent usually stops and looks down before going in. Now you may be thinking, oh dag nabbit, oh fiddlesticks, the jig is up and my days of hooliganizing in this blasted metal air duct are over. Woe is me. But there's a way to bait even the most average of players down into the vent after they know what you're up to. Now this tactic has been passed down from my ancestors throughout generations of gamers, and it's really hard to learn, so make sure you pay close attention. This is an advanced technique that requires complete focus and mastery to pull off. So what you do is you go a little farther into the vent, and then you go back out. Mind-blowing stuff, I know. All you're really doing is making them think you're running away down to B site, so they feel like they have to chase you down. It's a pretty easy way to add that extra kill to your list of vent knife victims. Next, wait, hold the fuck on. What is that? The fuck is that? What is that? So the CS2 beta came out, and I didn't have time to finish the video. Anyway, moving on. The next funny you're going to be learning is the reverse vent knife. Literally all you're doing is the exact opposite of the regular one, but you're also crouching since you have to knife someone in the back while you're on their head. This is very good to use if someone on the other team knows how to do the vent knife and keeps trying to do it every round, or for baiting people who are in secret to come up the vent. So to recap, wait on the ladder or drop down from the top of the vent, hold the crouch and knife him. Simple as that really. Now the next type of funny you'll be doing doesn't really involve killing anybody unless you want to. This one's mostly just for fun and or shits and giggles. What you'll be doing is following players around and jumping on their head to make them look really dumb. So the first thing you want to do is do one of those routes I taught you to get behind the enemy team. Make sure to try not to make as much noise so they don't notice you. But if you're behind the whole team, you can go ahead and make noise since they'll probably think you're one of them anyway. Then, when they decide to crouch for some reason, hop right up on there and wait. This type of funny is one of the best ones in my opinion, since it works pretty much anywhere in any situation and you can do it on any map. Not only can you do it anywhere, you can do it to anyone, including your teammates if they're whining in voice chat a little too much. That's pretty much it for the shenanigans you can do on Nuke. All I'd recommend you do now is play some community KZ and HNS games for a while to get used to having good movement and pathing. Now while I showed you a lot here today, this isn't the extent of how much you can shitpost. There's always someone finding new funny shit to do, so make sure to be on the lookout for more funnies. And don't forget to check out all types of movement YouTubers and Twitch streamers. Ever since I started watching Slippery, Smiley BS, Scribe, Franz J, Matt CS, and a whole bunch of other different channels, I've had a lot more fun on my games. Oh, I gotta go because this video is getting too long, but before I do, here's one last piece of advice. No matter what you're doing, whether it be sitting on top of someone's head, trolling the shit out of your teammates because they said something racist or whatever, you're not doing it right unless you're having fun. Now enjoy this outro montage while I go desperately try to get people to play Nuke in the CS2 beta.
Bro.
$154 and then another garage account that's blue.
Damn. So funny for me. Never mind.
Sure, they're both. Oh yeah, pushed my molly. Wow.
Green check bomb.
No fucking way, man.